The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I want to share a really powerful story with you that I just heard. It's a story about my friend's grandfather who was in Auschwitz. And while he was there, he was working as an electrician in the camps. Yom Kippur was approaching, and he went up to his capo, and he asked the capo if he could switch jobs so that he wouldn't have to work on Yom Kippur. He thought the capo would feel bad for him. Unfortunately, it was the opposite. The capo ended up bringing him to his supervisor, and the supervisor whipped him and beat him so badly that he had scars all over himself. And unfortunately, when you're scarred that badly in Auschwitz, you're basically labeled as a troublemaker, and it made the rest of his time in the camps even worse. Long story short, thank God he ends up surviving, and he comes to America, and he opens up a factory. And all the Jews wanted to work in his factory because he didn't make them work on Shabbos. One day, this capo shows up asking for a job. And as soon as he recognized him, he had to excuse himself because he had a rush of all the pain and all the suffering and all those terrible, terrible memories came back to him of the moment that he asked for time off on Yom Kippur. And he just goes into the back and he's bawling and crying and remembering all the pain. And then he stops and he thinks to himself how when he went to the capo and when he asked the capo for time off, it was only because all he wanted was to be able to do what God wants from him in this world. All he wanted was just not to have to work on Yom Kippur. And he thought to himself, that's what this guy wants. This guy just doesn't want to have to work on Shabbos. And he thought about the pain that he must be going through. And he went back in the room and he said, I want you to know I forgive you. And yes, you can have a job. You know, Yom Kippur is a time when traditionally we all go up to each other and we ask each other forgiveness. And we hopefully grant each other forgiveness. But it's not always so easy. Because when we begin to think back to the pain and the suffering that the person caused us, it's sometimes hard to let go. But if we can really get into the mindset of the other person, if we can really begin to think, what are they going through? Look how they're bearing this pain and look how badly they feel. Then maybe it'll be a little bit easier for us to let go and to forgive and to finally take that burden and the grudge that we're holding and just release it all. And the same thing when it comes to asking forgiveness. You know, when it comes to asking somebody's forgiveness, sometimes it's hard to muster up the energy and the courage to do it. But if we could stop and really think about the pain we caused the other person, hopefully it'll give us a little bit more strength to be able to do that.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org